Guys, welcome to today's podcast. I'm really excited about today's guest, Corey Peterson. He's from Kahuna Investments. We're going to hear all about what they do, what they are. He's going to talk about property managers, property management, good, bad, ugly, vetting them, how they can fit into your portfolio, as well as he's got a free offer at the end of the show. And I'm really excited about this conversation and where it will go. So, Corey, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Christopher, for having me on. And listen, I really, it's crazy times right now. Like the market's been crazy. Interest rates are all over the place. And so it really is, it's a crazy time, but it's great to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know we were talking backstage and you had a really interesting story you wanted to share with the audience. So kind of tell people all about it and we'll get right into it.
First, I'll jump in real quick and just tell you my short background story. But we started in real estate. I started in real estate in 2005. So, 23 years ago is kind of when my life changed forever. I actually went to Hawaii for the first time with my girlfriend, now my wife, for 21 years. And we go there and I really met my first mentor. His name was Bruce. I like to call him Bruce Wayne. Okay. He wasn't Batman, but he did have a lot of money. And it was the first time that I had seen real, true wealth. And, I had asked Bruce what he did, and he said the magic words. He said that he was an investor and that he owned apartments. And so I took that recipe and left the island. And about 3 years, then I read the little purple book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's when my life changed forever. And I went on the path of real estate. And what I found is that over time, when I first started, I did single family fix and flips. And I found that was not the right spot for me. You couldn't scale. You're trading money, in and outs. And, it's the worst type of income you could possibly be in. And so we moved into multifamilies in 2011. And that's all we've been doing since. Now we own over $230 million of commercial real estate, 10 active assets. And then this year is the year that we took over property management. And so what I'd love to say about that is I used to say I would never manage any properties. Like, oh gosh, Corey, do you really want to do that, right? But I'm gonna kind of tell it from your guys' perspective as potential investors, and probably what you guys should be looking out for and asking, because it's really about asking better questions if you're partnering with operators like me, of how are they set up, what are they doing, and how are they doing it well, especially in today's environment where everything truly has skyrocketed, right? Our taxes on our properties have went up. Insurance has went. I've got one property, the insurance went up 150%. And this is in Georgia. And you're like, gosh, that's not really a bad state for hurricanes, but it doesn't matter, right? So it has been very much we'll call it survive to 25, but the days of where everybody could do, throw a dart and hit a decent deal and kind of manage it and kind of just halfway go through it and have success, those days are over, my friend, right? It is now about who is efficient property managers and asset managers managing these big giant ships called apartments. And so one of the things that we did this year was we took all that process on, Chris. And I'm not sure if I should be calling Dr. Lou. So I don't know. Tell me how am I supposed to address you, brother?
Oh,
Dr. Lou.
Yeah, just call me Chris. All my friends call me Chris. So.
All right. Well, I was like, man, I don't want to be disrespectful at all. Yeah. But what I found is that there is so much benefit to taking on the control of your assets, right? So I'll give you an example. We own a lot of student housing properties, right? So in other words, these college kids, they go to college, right? And you got to stay somewhere. So. And I love the student housing aspect because mom and dad always co-sign. Like my daughter's a sophomore in college right now, and I co-sign on her lease, right? Like a lot of us have, and we've all been there pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And so we know how that thing works, and you rent for 12 months, even though your school's only 9 months, and it's just kind of the way it is. But the control of that, of when all the students in that environment move out all at once, and then you've got a short amount of time to fix them and get them ready, and then they move back in. Well, last year on one property, we had a $40 million project that we own that's in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. Our property management company spent $370,000 to turn the whole property, right? In other words, cleaning carpets, and they third-partied everything. And I let them. And then they gave me the bill, and I was like, oh my God, what in the world are we doing here? This year, we took over property management. We did the same process for $122,000. So we saved almost $200,000. Why? Because we were in control of the people. And here's the thing, and the process, but more importantly, it's the culture, right? Our biggest business that we're in, and people forget this, it's not real estate. It's the people business. And once we understand that we're in the people business and you start playing the people game and trying to find the very best people and getting them motivated, selling them the vision and the story behind our brand, Kahuna Investments, the Kahuna way, and having a really built-in process of, because most people don't realize either that they have culture in their company, whether they know it or not, and are they controlling it? And a lot of companies don't, and especially third party. So when you're a third party, you hire a third party management company, you're hoping that that culture is like yours. But most of the time it's not. And the biggest relation or unrelated project is the way we pay property managers. They're paid for income collected, right? Income collected, not NOI, right? So expenses don't matter to them. So they'll spend you out of house and home because that doesn't affect their pay. And so we find that we're not aligned at the right spots when we have third-party property management. So the ability this year to bring that all in-house has been tremendous.
Yeah, I love that. And property managers can be either pain in the ass, or they can be a huge asset in basically controlling expenses. And kind of talking about like vetting, what should you look for in property managers?
So probably we use that. We use technology a little bit. So first of all, we have a whole process that we go through just to get on our team. First, we start with called predictive index, right? Predictive index is just a tool that we use to figure out kind of who you are naturally, right? Some people like and we actually have built a program that says we only are looking for these types of personality traits, right? And you got to either score a 9 or a 10, or we don't even interview. We won't even go the next step, right? Because for example, property managers, we need them kind of with a little bit higher precision. Like they're going to be doing reports. We need to be on time with those reports. So we've got to have that. We also have to have a stronger dominance, right? We want them to be a little more dominant because they got to lead their property, right? And lead their people, right? Not super high dominant because then they'll just go rogue. They'll do it their way, right? So there's a real skill. They've got to be sociable. So they got to have interactions and be able to deal with people, right? And they're either driving, and usually on property managers, we want a driver versus steady, right? And so, because steady would be like your office admin that can come in and do the same work each and every day, right? With property management, there's always different fires, right? And we're like, hey, this is today's thing, so let's drive and get that done. And then we have that for each position that we hire for, because the leasing manager is totally different than the property manager. Property manager is more formal, more in command. That leasing person sells, and salespeople are crazy, right? And so salespeople are usually disruptive. They're horrible at paperwork, but they're great with people. And so you've got to have someone like that property manager that's really good with reports and all that other stuff to balance out that crazy sales guy, right? And so it's really putting together a neglected team that can understand how to communicate with each other and function well. And so it's a wonderful process, actually. Yeah. But you get a lot of diversity in that, right? Because we don't want to hire the same robot for each spot, because everything has different needs and wants and desires. And this is where I think a lot of property management companies, they don't want to invest the time in this because it's expensive, right? And they just usually sometimes we need to have a body. And we don't like to play the game of just fill somebody in the role. We find that it's way more better to take a little more time and find a good quality candidate and lead them and then attract them, right? And you attract them through your company culture, your vision, and all that stuff. So it's good. And then they end up, we call it bleeding Kahuna red. They'll really go to bat for you because they're proud, right? And this comes back to training too. Like, think about this. Like, you go through medical school, right? Like, it's a whole process, right? Like, not everybody makes it through that gauntlet, but when you come out, you're like, dude, I did all the work required. It's like a badge. And then as you guys get your certificates or whatever for different, I'm not a physician, so I don't understand, but I'm like, there's probably different levels of like, I got this, and this, and this, the credentials behind your name, right? So in essence, we're trying to build that with our team members, is to have them fulfill different spots in our company and goals and achievements. And we honor them with that type of badge in a way, right? And that gives them, and then what we do is when they do something really well, Chris, we'll then let them present it to the whole team. And we find that is gold. When you get someone that's doing something really well, you say, listen, I want you to roll this out. You're going to put together a webinar and you're going to roll it out in front of the rest of the team. And I want you to lead it. You create the curriculum. You be a leader in front of your peers. Man, people will do more for recognition in this world than they will for money a lot of times, right? And it really becomes magic.
Yeah, I love that. So I love that, and I love this idea. I have a couple questions. One is, what are your thoughts on the economy, especially with interest rates? Some people say recession, some people say boom, some people say interest rates we're going back to zero interest rates. Some are saying it's going to stay here for longer. Commercial real estate. Tell us more.
I believe that we're buying right now. I'm in buy mode, right? Listen, I think there's an interest rate play to have. Like, if you make a deal work to today's rates, you're probably going to do way better in tomorrow's rates down the road. Tomorrow's rates will probably be better, right? We hope. But if you can make it today, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape, because you're also getting today's insurance costs priced in your deals too. And you have to, in order to be able to transact, it has to work, or the bank won't finance it. So I am very, right now, I'd like to buy in fear and pain, right? The last time it was really bad was 2009, 10, 11, right? Now, during COVID, I was in student housing, which sucked, right? I got my butt kicked, right? But what did I do? I bought more, because that's where the pain was. I saw it, right? That whole time where everybody was like, oh my God, I'm like, COVID is not going to last forever, kids. I'm going to start buying these properties that everybody wants to sell because they're so worried, and they had one little blip on their record, right? Like, I'm okay with that. But so I got a lot of good deals and good properties because everybody else was scared, right? And I feel like that's what's going on now. When it's not a normal playing field and there's disruptors out there. To me, that is the indicative thing that you should show you that you probably should be buying today, right? And it'll dollar cost average out, but like the whole thought is you still got to find good deals in good markets, and the job will always be, Chris, is to find needles in the haystack, right? That is the job for me as an owner operator, partnering with investors. My job is to go find needles in the haystack, to smoke out the deals, and to do that, we have to look at a lot of them. And most of them don't qualify, right? You kick them to the can.
Yeah.
So it's a numbers game.
Yeah, I love that. What a fantastic way to end. How can people reach out to you? How can they check out Kahuna?
The best way, I'll give you one of my books that I wrote called Copy Your Way to Success, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. You can get this book by texting the word book, BOOK, to 480-500-1127. We'll send it to you for free. Read the first couple chapters, see if you like it. But it's really the story of my personal journey of how I started from a used car salesman to a multimillionaire. And there's a lot of clues that you learn on the way. So it's learning. And my biggest thing was I barely made it out of high school. So I was never that smart, but I always surrounded myself with very smart people, and I learned from them, and I modeled, even though it says copy, I modeled their success really well. And that's been my biggest gift is I'm not very good at creating new stuff, but I can model something that works so freaking good. And that is the story to my success.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. There's so many different paths to success. It's not just one. It's not like you just followed it. And I think Pablo Picasso said the greatest artists steal. So, why reinvent the wheel when it's already there, right? Just use it.
Yeah. Yeah. You start adding your little strokes, right? Yeah. It's really like you get the main picture, but then you're going to add the little things that make it you. Yeah. And I think that's the part that I love about this game. And there's so many ways to make money in real estate, really. It's really just pick the thing that you're most passionate about. Find the partners. Like most of our deals that we do, we have partners. So find the people you like to partner with that make it easy and fun and helps overall achieve your goals, right? And the great thing about it, if you hold real estate long enough, you can get the tax depreciations and all the other stuff that comes with it. So to me, it's been a wonderful journey.
Yeah. And fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed it. I love your philosophy. There's a lot of smart, broke people, and there's a lot of rich, based on traditional methods. They not deemed smart, but they're smart in their own ways. So this is one of the ways what you're describing. Definitely check out the book. Those resources will be in the links in show notes.
Yeah. And you can always go to KahunaInvestments.com. That's our website. So you can find us there too.
Yeah. Awesome. And I love this conversation, and thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me, my friend. Appreciate it.